Okay, I'll mute everybody. We'll get ready to start. And if anybody has any problems at any time with the volume of my voice compared to the volume of the loop, or you can just put it in the chat if you don't mind, because I will see it and I'll try to adjust that volume. It's gonna be mostly you guys playing, so feel free to do a little breathing, a little working out your shoulders, just little things. It's always good to warm up your body. We're gonna do some, I've got 3 loops for us today. We'll start with this one. And it might be a little low tune. My A is right around there. That might be a little bit low for the 440 snobs in the house. Sorry about that. Some people may be surprised to know that I don't actually tune my violin to a tuner, I just wing it. So anyway, so you can also tune like to the track, right? And this is one of the things we can start with. So what I'd like to recommend is, I'll demo some things, but I'll try to do it very briefly, my demos, so that you guys can really focus on your playing. All right, I'm just gonna start with these long bows, even on an open string. Maybe going all the way to the frog, all the way to the tip. And there's a couple variations I want you to notice on this, which is like stopping your bow versus looping the bow. Because Shem brought this up yesterday. Shem has played in the Metropolitan Orchestra for 40 years. I was talking about practicing stopping the bow, so stop, stop. But he was talking about what is it necessary to stop the bow. So we don't want to force the stop. We want to find a graceful stop, and then we want to find that connection to the up bow. So you could start with something like that, and whether you're doing fast bows or slow bows, like this is very slow. Stop, change. Well, I could go very fast. So just try that. Just get some long bows going. Breathing. Be open string, it could be any notes. Don't worry about what note. Just getting some long bows. Breathing. Working out the kinks in your body. Roger, I see you've got some tension in your body. Yeah, there we go. Look at that. What a difference. Just noticing. Just noticing our body, noticing our breath, not forcing anything. Let your body warm up. Fast bows, slow bows, any note. When you do start to put your left hand fingers down, let your left arm be light too. Those fingers, they need to warm up. Be gentle. I want to model the left hand for you a little bit. We can just do a little bit of intonation practice, and basically if you want a key signature, just think 1 sharp, but we're gonna go beyond that. You can play chromatically if you're advanced, because it's a great practice to hear the intonation of a B flat here. A C sharp, right? So for super ultra advanced people, you can play chromatically over this. But for everybody else, we can just be an A Dorian, which is just 1 sharp. A, B, C, D, E, F, G when F's are sharp, okay? And we can warm up the left hand. Not pressing too hard. And we can experiment with 2 notes per bow or 4 notes per bow, etc., etc. Focusing on your left hand, but keeping your bow action happening too. Don't worry about the notes. You can think about intonation, you can think about tone, but don't worry about if it's a right note or a wrong note. One note per bow, 2 notes per bow, 8 notes per bow. Fast bows, slow bows. Not worrying about the composition of your ideas. And ideally recording yourself. Maybe we can explore just a little bit of rhythm with the bow. So I'll give you some examples. So it could be fast rhythm. It could be fast rhythm. It could be slow rhythm. And I'm doing it at the tip, but you could also explore the same variations in the middle or the frog. And you could have any combination of left hand action or just sitting on one note. Ready, go. And if you're recording yourself, then later you'll be able to really notice how grooving you're making it. It's not whether it's easy or hard, it's how good can you make it feel. I'm just going to demonstrate a little bit, just real quick, okay? So focusing on groove. If I listened back to that later, what I would listen for is, hey, was I really in the groove? Am I on the front of the beat? Am I in the back of the beat? Am I right in it? The goal is really to be in that groove 100% of the time, right? So it's not, the goal is not like, and I could also listen for intonation or tone or whatever, right? But that's what I want you to focus on is, and again, no, just shut up. You got it. Ready, go. Okay, just a little quick tip about the harmonic information we're dealing with if you want to bring your attention to that. And this is only applicable for you if you care. All right, so there are two chords happening. The first chord is an A minor. The second one is an E, or E7. And I'll very briefly show you what I mean by that, which is A minor, right? And you could add a 7 or a 6, which is cool. That's a nice little challenge for people if you want to play A minor 6. That's a little something different. Hear what that sounds like. E7. The E7 has a flat 9. That's, like I said, that's only for people who care. So it's A minor going to E7, optional flat 9. All right. Now, the other harmonic option for people that don't want to think about all that is you can play A minor pentatonic the whole time. I'm going to show you what that sounds like. A minor pentatonic. That's A minor pentatonic. Now, for people who don't want to deal with pentatonic, you can think about this as just being a couple ways. And this is where it gets fun for you. All right. First of all, you can think of it as A Dorian, which is just G major. And I'm going to put it the simplest way, which is A, B, C, D, E, F, G when F's are sharp. A, B, C, D, E, F, G when F is sharp. All right. So you can think about it that way if you want. But you can also think about it as mixed modes. And actually, this is where Appalachian and roots music from all around the world, actually roots music, world music, like I don't care if it's Celtic music, I don't care if you're to Cape Breton in Canada, it gets very mixed modal. And what I mean is, you hear I use a major third, major 6, minor 6, major 7, minor 7, flat 5, normal 5. So let's hear what that sounds like. If I treat it more like an old-time fiddle tune, where even it's ambiguous, the intonation. I played all those notes, right? And just come back to A. So you can get away with that if you want. And it's just about conviction. The lesson of the day, Shuby Taylor. Conviction. Play like you mean it. Sometimes that's all that matters, right? So you have a choice. You can agonize about the harmonic implications and the mathematical relationships, or you can be like, I'm just going to play this note and I'm going to mean it. And I'm going to show you the even further out implication of that, which is to go truly atonal, right? Last 30 years. His name is Aubrey Haney, the most recorded session fiddle player in Nashville. Aubrey Haney. I did that, what I just showed you one time at a jam session with Aubrey Haney in the mountains of Tennessee, and he stopped everything. He said, what did you just do? And after that, Aubrey Haney took private lessons from me. So this is no joke. So you can go any of those directions. I'm going to give you a few minutes. 1, 2, you got it. let's try melodic rhythm. So I'm thinking about the melodic rhythm of Old Joe Clark. Ba 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 do ba 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 be ba bo be. I don't know if anybody's ever heard that tune, but it's like might be an Irish tune, it might be, but it's like it sounds like this. Whatever. But that rhythm, and you could double it up. You could do that if you want, but try that. See if you can change the notes to that. You see how that works? Double it up or keep it the same tempo. You can use that melodic rhythm, and then we'll try maybe a different melodic rhythm. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's a different melodic rhythm. Check it out. You can try that if you want. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. You can also try with a different bowing. So check this out. So up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down. But now I'll do it slurred. So improvising the bow, coming up with different variations of the bowing for the same melodic rhythm. If that rhythm is too fast for people, come up with a different melodic rhythm. It could be da ga da da, anything. 2, ready, go. Okay, last one. This is the last one I'm going to suggest for this loop. Then we got 2 more loops. So think about the idea of the shape of your phrase. There's a couple different ways to think about the shape of a phrase. So you can think about the rhythmic shape, the amount of notes in a phrase, or you can think about the melodic shape. So I'll give you a couple examples, but really what I want you to focus on is having the difference between an A phrase and a B phrase. So this is an A phrase shape, and it's mostly rhythmic. It's one note. It's a long note. It's one note, right? That has a shape. And then this could be the second phrase that I play. change it up. That's a short phrase. That has a different phrase. Mostly rhythmic shapes, though. Rhythmic shapes. And also the length of the phrase and the amount of notes in a phrase. Now, here's a different way to think of shape, which is melodic shape, right? So it had shapes that were like these huge leaps and then these tiny little movements. Think about shape. See what you can do, like having one shape and then a different shape. You got it. Then we're going to move to another loop. I'll give you 3 minutes. 2, ready, go. Record yourself. Okay. We're going to go to, we got 2 more loops. The next loop we're going to do is going to be on the song Amazing Grace. It's in the key of G. And so I want to change it up for you, give you a couple little different types of challenges to deal with. So on this song, there's a chord progression that you could deal with, but you don't have to deal with it. I'll give you a way to play over Amazing Grace without the chord progression too. Okay. And then we're going to come back and we're going to do another kind of groove that has similar type of challenge in the sense that you could just play over one key or whatever after that. So for those of you who want to, grab a pencil and I'm just going to take 1 minute to talk over the chord progression as it happens. But if you don't want to, that's fine. You have another option, which is to write out your G major pentatonic scale. The G major pentatonic scale, also known as the E minor pentatonic scale. They're the same thing. E minor pentatonic, 5 notes. G major pentatonic, 5 notes. Same 5 notes. All right. And if you want to write it out, then you can either just write it, make a staff for yourself and just write it. And remember, I always say write it in extended range first position. So that means all the G, A, B, D, and E's that happen across first position on your instrument. Unless you're a ninja and you're playing in 7th position, in which case write them out there. but it's just going to be like a diagonal line where you write it out. And you can use that extended range scale sheet if you want. That makes it easier. All right, so I'm going to tell over the chord progressions for everybody that wants them. If you don't want them, then don't worry about this. Here's the chord progressions. G, G7, C, G, G, E minor 7, A7, D7, G, G7, C, G, D, G, A minor, D, C, G. All right, so right now you can just play over the tune. I'm going to keep calling out the chord progression for anybody that didn't catch them, but I'll try to do that in a way that's not intrusive. In fact, I'll just write it in the chat, okay? So I'm not intruding on you. And you can play over Amazing Grace. The first note is E. Lord, E, E, G, amaze. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, amaze. Chords in the chat. E minor, A7, D7, G, G7, C, G, D, G, A minor, D, C. You can always just play the bass line if you want. Let me just model that really quick, and there's a couple options here for you. So if your goal is to memorize the chord progression of a song, or there's lots of other benefits that come from this, then you can just play the bass line of the chord progression, which I will model briefly. But also, if you want to go in a different direction, but still really internalizing the chords, then you can do like what Austin does during the bluegrass classes, which is where you grab notes from the chord stacks, any combination of chords, either double stop pads or arpeggios. I'll model that too. But in either case, you are adhering to the form of the chords, right? You're taking responsibility. It's like when I watched my son when he was 2 years old and I had to be responsible for him and make sure he didn't get hurt. It's that kind of responsibility. It's a specific type of thing. This is not what we did for the first 20 minutes of class, right? There's more, there's like a mental brain, like work that has to be done. Labor, caretaking, right? So I'm gonna model that just really briefly. So I'm looking at the chord progression in the chat, right? And it's okay, just the bass line, G, second bar G, third bar G, fourth bar G, C, 3, second bar of C, bar of G, bar of D. Oh my gosh, that caught me off guard. Second bar of G, E minor. This is what the bass player has to do. And then if you want to be fun with, have a little fun with it though, you could try to add a little bit to it. So it'd be like G, bubble, G. You try to make a little improvisation, but landing on those chord tones. Now here's another way I could do it though. I could be like, I really want to explore a little further, a little more advanced. So I could play G arpeggios. Sorry. 7, C, G, D, right? So that's the arpeggiated version. Now here's the pad version. G, and I did all the extra fancy stuff there, which is just to make the point that no matter how advanced you are, you can get a lot from just exploring and working on the chords, right? So work on Amazing Grace for a few minutes. I'm going to shut up. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. And if you don't want to do any of that, then you can just play G major pentatonic and play what you hear and have fun. Good. All right, now let's talk about it from a different standpoint. Don't let anybody ever be confused that I only have one way to approach practice. Because somebody might be like, oh, he does the theory stuff. No, that's not true. We're going to talk about using your ears and playing variations on a melody, also known as micro variations, which my former boss and my good friend, colleague, and mentor, Matt Glazer from Berklee College of Music, he talks a lot about this in roots music and in folk music, micro variation. One of the great examples of this that he gave was like how some fiddle player played this break in one song, that a fiddle player played that break in that song 44 different ways in one song, in one recording, 4.5-minute song. So every time he had to play that line, there was part of the melody, but it was always slightly different. And this is something that fiddle players can do without any theory. So let me say in front of witnesses, it's not just one way, right? So you can use your ears. Now I want to give you permission and invite you to use your ears this time, but making variations on the melody, Amazing Grace. Now here's how I think about it. You can either change the rhythm, you can either replace and change notes, you can add notes, or you can subtract notes. That's my analytical understanding of micro variation. Now, another way for me to not add any of that is just say, play whatever you hear and change it up. But I think it's important that we make micro variations. When you try to change too many things, you lose the point. It's, can you make a micro variation in each phrase or in some of the phrases? I'm going to show you what I mean. So let's say that's the melody. So I can change the rhythm. I can replace. I can subtract. I can add. Okay, so for every single phrase, you can just think about the simplicity of that phrase. Da ba be, ba ba do ba da dee, ba do do dee do dee, ba. It's just one phrase. It's just that bo dee. That's a phrase, and then you can make a micro variation on the next phrase or not. Try that. 1, 2, you got it. Subtract, add, replace, or change the rhythm. I put it in the chat. Subtract, add, replace, or change the rhythm. I'm going to try to switch to Ethernet cable. Might be a glitch for a second. one more time through the form. A fun variation is to sing while you play, or to sing and then play back what you sang, or to trade with your voice and you're playing. Great variation. Awesome. I got one more loop for you guys. We've done our 45 minutes, but I'm going to do a little more. Let's see if I can find this 84A. Here's the loop. Can everybody hear that okay? No? Not as good, right? Is that better? Okay. So I'll tell you the chords really quick. It's a F major 7, and then it goes to a C major 7. We're in the key of C major. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, everything is natural, right? If you want a pentatonic, then I would probably use yeah, so you could use A minor pentatonic the whole time, or what I think is a little funner would be A minor pentatonic for the first chord and E minor pentatonic over the second chord. So A minor pentatonic, no, bo, da, bo, di, da, bo, ba, bo, bo, ba, bi, bo, ba, bo, E minor. So I went from A minor pentatonic to E minor pentatonic, but that's pretty advanced though. So otherwise you can just play in the key of C major scale the whole time. So I'm not going to make this that complicated harmonically for anybody. All right. And just play whatever you want to start. I'll give you a few minutes on this. Or record yourself. We're going back to what we were doing earlier in the class, which is more modal improvisation, right? A little less responsibility for you. A little less having to work the brain. 1, 2, ready, go. I put the scales in the chat if anybody wants to review them. Okay, really quick, I'm going to model a couple things for you, and then I'm going to shut up and let you have a few more minutes on this before we wrap. So one thing that we can work on is integrating the scale, integrating the harmony, right? For example, if I'm playing C major, I can work on integrating C major scale by making little sequences like that. It's a little problem to solve. You can make the problem as hard or as easy as you want, right? That was a simple mathematical sequence: 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? But I could make it more complicated: 1, 4, 6. I recommend you don't make it. The goal is not to make it so complicated, but it's something that can make, say, how's my C major? Maybe I play 6. And obviously, while I'm working on internalizing the scale relationships themselves, like developing my knowledge of that scale, right? I can also be thinking about intonation or my bow arm or whatever, right? So that's one thing you can do, is make little problems for yourself that is focused more on memorizing scale relationships, internalizing harmonic information. The other thing that you can do is focus more on creative exploration. So and we did a lot of those parameters earlier. It's explore different phrases, different shapes, that kind of thing. And while you're focused on creative exploration, like putting yourself into creative rules, different little problems creatively, then again, you can still pay attention to your breath, to your inner dialogue, to your bow arm, to your left arm, whatever you want. Okay. So a few minutes on that and then we'll wrap. 1, 2, you got it. Record. Okay. I'm actually just going to model just a little bit more for you and give you a few more minutes with it. Because some people have said that they like when I model some things. I don't want to overdo that. So I'll just play a little bit and then give you a few more minutes to see if that inspires anything for you. So I'm gonna start by just trying some of those sequences, warming up. So I'll go back and I'll try that. That's hard. I noticed that my string crossing wasn't even with my bow arm there, so I'm just going to focus on that. Right? Now, if I want to do more little creative stuff, a little different shape for the second phrase. That was really about rhythmic shapes, right? So I had one rhythmic shape, then a different rhythmic shape. And I just blow what I want to play. Sometimes I'll do an exercise where I just play like as fast as I can and see what comes out of it. Maybe not as fast as I can, but like push the edge of my kind of speed barrier to see what emerges. Also, when I do that, I try to see if I can make the most random, surprising things happen within it. Yeah, just a little modeling for you. So give you a few more minutes with it. You can use any of those ideas if they speak to you, but the point is not for you to try to sound like me. It's just to give you a sense of like my inner process of practice. Okay, so a few more minutes and then we'll wrap. Ready, go. Okay. And that's over an hour. I promised 45 minutes. Look, I got a really quick pitch that I want to make. And then I have a quick thing I want to share. And then I'll take, if anybody wants to share anything, you can. I'll stick around and answer questions or whatever. So here's the pitch. The pitch is, it's partly selfish, but it's also, I like to not pitch things that don't have value for you. This community, I really made a huge transformation in my life and in my business last February when I changed the Creative Strings Academy. And it's been a great growing journey for me as a teacher and as a person. And one of the things that I realized that I needed to lean into harder was generosity. And because I was always afraid that people wouldn't want what I had to offer, or people just weren't that interested in practicing, or like they didn't care about jazz, or I wasn't good enough. Like I had all these fears. And so that fear, if anything, it was just really rubbing me like hard the wrong way. And really, I should say the fear of scarcity actually is the main thing. The fear of scarcity, the fear of survival really is the main thing, because that's a huge fear. That's a huge theme in my life. It's scarcity, dread, fear that the world will fall down. But I went the opposite direction, and I decided instead of charging more, that I was going to charge less, and I was going to give more. And that was a very hard transition to make. And so anybody that's been with me since the cohort, so you paid $400 for a cohort. And I said, okay, now it's Creative Strings Academy. It's a subscription every month. And if you can't afford it, you pay whatever you can. And it was really leaning into my fear. And you've seen how much I've tried to change this and make it better. I'm constantly trying to improve it and make more value. So here's the pitch. The point is I'm doing the cohort again, but I'm only doing it in December and January. And you all get it for free because you're a member of this community. You get it for free. You don't pay anything for it, but you're going to get a cohort. I'm going to give more, and you're not going to pay anything for it. But I'm also selling that cohort to people in the world, and I'm saying, come and do the cohort, and it's $225. And if they come, they get to bring a +1. And so I thought I shouldn't give people in the academy a +1, but then I was like, no, I should. And so here's the pitch. My pitch is, if you have somebody that you know who is a musician and you want to be able to give them a Christmas present for free, I want you to invite your friend to the cohort for free as your +1. It's completely free. All you have to do is send me their email address, and that would cost them otherwise $225. And I'm asking you this for selfish reasons, because I want to grow this community. Because if I grow that, and so when they do the cohort, then I'm going to pitch them and I'm going to say, you should join this community. I'm telling you that up front. I'm going to sell them on it hard. I'm going to say, if you like this cohort, I want you to join this community. And I'll do the same thing that I with them that I do with you, which is to say, you know, the recommended price is $57 a month, but if you can't afford that, you can pay whatever you can pay. I'll do exactly the same thing to them. If you have a friend, I will respect that friend, and they will get a free +1 as your pass. So that is a free Christmas present for you to offer to anybody in your life who happens to be a musician. And I don't care if they play the violin or the cello or the viola. They can play the recorder. They can play the piano. I will teach them. Okay, that is my pitch, but it's also my ask. I'm asking you, find a musician, and if you trust me enough, invite them to participate in the cohort. It's called Accelerator, as your +1, as my guest. Okay, and now here's the other thing I want to share, and this is more of a thing for you. So in the last 5 weeks, I have made another transformation in myself of moving through my own fear. And I have sent an email every single day to 9,000 people. Now, you guys do not get that daily email from me because you already are members. And this might be wrong. Maybe I need to change this up. But frankly, I don't want to bother you every day. But the 9,000 other people on my email list, they get an email from me every single day. And I've done that for 5 weeks. And that was a huge transformation for me in, can I actually send an email every single day? Can I write something and share it with 9,000 people in the face of extreme fear that I do not have something worth saying, that they will reject me, that they will unsubscribe from my list, that they will think I'm too salesy, that I'm not smart enough. And so I say this to tell you that we are the same. You and me are the same. I live with fear. I fear that I'm not a good enough teacher. I fear I'm not a good enough husband. I fear I'm not a good enough parent. I fear I'm not a good enough writer. And you and me are the same. Maybe you see me as being able to play all these chord changes, but that's why I'm saying this. It's like we have the same fears. And so this is the message I want to give you today. And this is a draft that I wrote for tomorrow to send to my email list. And it says, do this today. He plays with heart. She fought with heart. I used to think playing with heart in sports meant using all my available energy, leaving every ounce of strength on the field or the court or the track. But I now understand it differently. True or false, to have heart or to do anything with heart implies that you give your all despite the reasonable fear of rejection or failure. To fight with heart means to give your all to fight an opponent who you know is quite possibly stronger and faster than you. To practice despite fearing you won't be good enough to progress. To teach differently despite fearing you'll make a mistake and disappoint your students or be seen as imperfectly human by them. To offer your services despite the fear of being seen as unworthy. We are the same because we all have fear. We are different only in terms of what we do with that fear. Today, do this. Live with heart. That's my message for you. Okay, I will conclude this lesson now with a call that if anybody wants to share anything, you can. Any questions, whatever.
Okay. Can you hear me, Chris?
Hey, Belinda. Yes.
Hey, you bring tears to my eyes because of your generosity. It's happy tears.
Oh, thank you.
And I so identify, and you've known me long enough, you probably get that.
Yeah. Thank you.
This is Dan from Kenya.
Hey, Dan.
You're a great soul, my brother. Many Africans cannot afford this because of dollar. You don't understand what I'm saying. $1 is 130 shillings. So I have to pay 130 times what you pay. You're a great soul. There are very few Kenyans who play the violin because they can't afford it. You're a great man. You're a great man. I cannot say more.
You're too kind, Dan. I'm blushing. Okay.
So can I ask, there's one girl who teaches children, I can ask her to join the class. There's a young lady.
I want you to bring 10 people from Africa to this class in December and January, Dan.
Yeah.
I want Africa.
I will do that. Yeah.
I want the whole continent.
Okay, I will do that. Okay.
And Dan, thank you for being here.
That is great. Yeah. Thank you so much. I'm always in class at 3 a.m., but I never miss.
I know. You're an inspiration.
Your time zone. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Chris, I just wanted to use the word you just used. You're an inspiration to me. I love your writing. I love your classes. Thank you for your generosity and you're a guy with soul. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm blushing. I'm going to explode because I'm actually more introverted than you guys might think. But thank you. Yeah. I didn't mean to be looking for compliments or anything. I'm not sure if I can take it. Thank you though.
Rick, could you send that email to us? Because I would love to read it to my students before they go out and play their little recital. And your words are better than mine. And I would read it to each one. Go out and just fight your fear and play. Who cares about all the notes? Just put your guts into it.
Thanks, JB. Yeah, I will send it to everybody maybe tomorrow because I already sent you guys a long email today. So
I need to tell you that this is 110% what I needed to hear today. I got the email this morning. I didn't even realize there was a class. And then I was like at work and I'm like, all right, going over. I'm on my work computer. I shouldn't be, but whatever. And early lunch break. But I feel like I have been on this fear journey, fear of auditioning, making a TikTok channel and making myself do things that I know are not right. I know. I'm like, that's so imperfect. And I'm like, well, I'm going to do it. I'm going to make myself do it. And so having that attitude, like in your emails, in the class, is just, it's been really actually helpful. So it's positive feedback, but also please keep doing that because we are scared. I'm afraid, but I really enjoy when things happen that I don't expect. Like when people enjoy something I do, even though I can look at all the errors. I enjoy when I can make just an 8-measure improv and it sounds dope. And I layer, I'm like, yes, like those moments. And when my stepdaughter is the first one on the TikTok saying, that's so beautiful, I love you. I win in 14-year-olds. And this matters as I know I'm an introvert too. It's really scary to reveal all the stuff that's terrifying in your mind and your life, but do it for those of us who are like you, who are also terrified, who don't have as big a platform to be like, we're terrified, it's okay. Because it's like good encouragement to keep going, even when I feel like maybe I should just quit while I'm ahead. Don't.
Thank you so much for saying that, Jess. Yeah, and one thing that I want to point out, like, about it, or just one thing that comes up to me about this, is that in the last few years, I've really tried to understand an important lesson about sharing. It is very important that we all honor our vulnerability in the way that we do not share in a way that traumatizes us. So this might be the opposite of what you're thinking I was going to say. You don't want to be too vulnerable. I was going to share a different lesson with people here today. A different story about myself that some people in here already know. But there are some things that are just, it's too traumatizing to share. And you shouldn't be always sharing things with just anybody. People have to earn the right for you to share your story with them. And you need to only share things around which you feel whole. And so I'm just reflecting that for myself because I did the right thing and I didn't share something that was going to be traumatizing for me to share. But I did share a story that I was capable of sharing, which is the one I just shared with you. And so I just offer that as a caveat to everybody here because I know that what I'm saying is go live with heart, but also do it in a way that protects your emotional safety. Do it with people that you can do it in front of. Don't share your whole story on Facebook if it's going to traumatize you. You know what I mean? Don't go stand up in a jam session with a bunch of pros that you don't trust, that are going to make you feel bad. Don't go play in a situation that you feel maybe not ready for. There is a difference, right? Live with heart, but do it in a way that also honors and protects your emotional safety. Yeah. There's a lot of risk in me sending out that email every day to my 9,000 people. And sometimes I have to get help with it. Sometimes I have to ask for advice. I go to my wife, should I send this? And she's, no, you got to fix this first. No, don't send. But anyway, it just came up to me, but I really appreciate what you said, Jess. Thank you. Anybody else got anything?
Hi. Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hey, Phil.
All right. No, I just want to firstly thank you for today. And yeah, it was a really interesting session. And on the topics you've been talking about, like I feel I'm on the edge of a breakthrough and there were some times there near the beginning with the first track where I felt, oh, I'm starting to fly here. This feels great. And then it was like the moments where I caught myself and I started to, where the fear crept in of this is going to be wrong, or I really sensed that moment of self-doubt and then lost the rhythm. I just lost the groove. It was just interesting watching that, experiencing those moments of forgetting myself and then thinking, and then starting to try to think about it, and then just getting off the track. Very interesting. Yeah, and thanks. I feel like I'm getting closer to something.
Sorry. Thanks for sharing that, Phil. I appreciate that. That's awesome. Yep. Anybody else have any questions or anything you want to share? Yeah, Art.
Yes. Excuse the background noise, but I'll send you an email. But what can we get on your daily list? Can we sign up for your daily list too?
Oh, thank you for asking that. Yeah. No, that's really nice. Yeah, there were. Okay, let me figure that out. I got to figure out the technology behind that, but maybe I'll just try to send more. Maybe I'll send more emails to the students. So like my daily emails, they always sell stuff. So part of what makes it hard is you guys are my students in my class. So I'm not trying to sell you stuff all the time. You're already paying members. You know what I mean? So that's part of the trick of it. But I appreciate that. Yeah. If enough people feel like they don't mind, because obviously if I send you an email, you don't have to read it. So if people don't mind getting the emails, then I'll send you more emails. What's that?
I get a lot that I don't read.
Yeah.
I get a lot of emails I don't read. And the other thing is, I think you talk about sharing. I think you do an excellent job of sharing your humanity, which is what the goal is, I think. And that your words to the wise, your inspirational words are, I think, valuable to all of us.
Thank you so much, Art. It means a lot coming from you, for sure. Okay, I'm going to explode. Too much vulnerability for me. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. We'll be in touch. Have a great day. Way to show up.